Let's take a look at saving workbooks in alternative file formats. By default, I got this saved as XLSX. If I do a file, you can do a save as. And once you're here, here's your file name, of course, and this is Excel workbook. If you do the drop down, this will show you all the different options. I don't know what all these different options are. I'll talk about them. Do you need to know them for the test? Maybe not, but if you're going to use Excel, it's nice to know. Of course, this is our Excel workbook. Here's Excel macro enabled workbook. If you've created a VBA program, done any kind of coding, scripting, not formulas, but coding or scripting, you have to save it as an XLSM in order for it to keep the programming. It will give people a warning when they open it up that there are some security issues there. So I've really tried to lean away from that to put something up for like students to use because I didn't want them to freak out when they open it up and it gives them that message. Have no clue what an Excel binary workbook is? Here's the older version of Excel, the .xls. Now here's a CSV. There's different CSVs. I couldn't tell you the difference between them. I never have had to really explore the difference. Here's one here. Here's one here. Here's Macintosh. Here's MS-DOS. In theory, this is where you have your data, your columns, your data separated by commas. Obviously, there's different versions of it. The one I usually use is I either use the CSV comma delimited right here or I choose the MS-DOS. I teach programming classes and I'll have various Python or Visual Basic or whatever. I'll give examples of where that's opening up a CSV file, and both of those work fine. Here's XML data. XML data may not give you what you want. XML is a format that you can use for transferring data, but oftentimes you have to have certain tags set. Now, don't get lost in this. If you're like, well, I don't know what a tag is, I don't know what XML is. Pretty much for the exam, you just have to be able to save as and demonstrate that. Simple file web page. I've done that one time. You could probably figure out it's a web page. And here's a web page. The web page itself may give you separate documents. Excel template. This is where you save this. So every time you open it, it will never overwrite the template unless you specifically tell it. But it'll want you to save as a new name. So if you got a default template for budgeting, then when you do a save, it'll save it as XLSX with whatever name you specify. Here's a macro enabled template. So a template has a macro or VBA. It used to be called macros. Template here, text. I read with ChatGPT and asked what all they might ask you on test, and it mentioned that text was so you could bring your data over to perhaps another database, to a post. Well, I'm drawing a blank on other databases. Let's say Oracle. That's not quite true. Most of these support CSV. So to use text is something old, so it must have been an old person that came up with that comment in the AI. We had some databases I worked with that you did have to have them in text format. One time we took some data. We took it from Oracle, though, and we took it into a Fortran program running on a HP system. It was one called Man. And it had to be formatted a certain way. It had to be in text. Now it had to be where things were in multiples of 4. So like if you had text, it either had to be 4 characters, 8 characters, 6, 12, 16, so forth. Unicode text, I have no clue. XML. That's probably about all I really want to mention. I do use PDF here. But that once you choose that, then you can save it as a different file format. Now there's also, if you do File, you'll see an export. Now I have a Create Adobe PDF because I got Adobe Creative Cloud. You probably don't have Adobe Creative Cloud, so you probably don't have this, but every version of Excel should have this right here, Create PDF. And you just click this button right here, and that'll create you a PDF of your document. Now, it may not look exactly like what you want, so you may have to do a lot of formatting and to get it just right. If you change file type, this is where you can change it to a different file type, and I won't do that. But you see the different options available. And that's how you'd save your workbook in an alternative file format.